1. The Shy Receptionist and the Wrong Flower. In the bustling heart of a mid-sized tech firm in Seattle, Emily was the epitome of quiet efficiency. At 24, she'd been the receptionist for just 6 months, her days filled with answering calls, scheduling meetings, and arranging small touches like fresh flowers for the lobby to brighten the corporate grind. Emily was painfully shy, the kind who blushed at compliments and preferred the company of her potted succulents to small talk. Her boss, the HR manager, had once joked that she communicated better with plants than people. One crisp autumn morning, the office buzzed with unusual energy. The CEO, Mr. Alexander Grant, was returning from a 3-week international trip, his first since acquiring a rare allergy to lilies, a detail buried in his updated employee file that Emily had somehow missed during her frantic morning routine. Alexander was known as the Iron Orchid for his unyielding standards and love for orchids, those delicate symbols of resilience that he insisted adorned his office desk. But this trip had been grueling. Delayed flights, tense negotiations in Tokyo, and a nagging cold that left him yearning for home. Emily's task that day was simple: prepare the executive suite for his arrival. She dashed to the florist down the street, her heart pounding as she ordered what she thought was the perfect bouquet, an elegant arrangement of white lilies, their scent heady and pure, to match the orchids from last time. Lilies for luck, the florist had said with a wink, and Emily, flustered and late, nodded eagerly. Back at the office, she placed the vase on his desk, stepping back to admire her work, oblivious to the faint tickle in her own throat from the pollen-laden air. Alexander's private jet touched down at SeaTac at noon, and by 1 p.m., his sleek black sedan pulled up to the building. The lobby fell silent as he strode in, his tailored suit crisp despite the jet lag, his sharp blue eyes scanning the space with habitual precision. Emily rose from her desk, smoothing her skirt, her voice a whisper, "Welcome back, Mr. Grant. Everything's ready for you." He gave a curt nod, the ghost of a smile for her effort, and headed to the elevator. Up in his corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Puget Sound, Alexander sank into his leather chair, exhaling deeply. The orchids he'd requested, wait, no, these were lilies. His allergy wasn't life-threatening, but it was severe enough to swell his throat and blur his vision, a misery he'd endured once before at a gala and sworn off forever. He leaned forward to inhale the blooms, fragrance out of habit, and within seconds, chaos erupted. A violent sneeze rocked him, followed by another, his eyes watering as if assaulted by tear gas. "What the?" he gasped, fumbling for his phone. His assistant, miles away tying up loose ends in New York, wasn't picking up. The swelling started, a familiar burn, and he bolted for the door, only to double over in the hallway, coughing into his sleeve. Employees peeked from cubicles, whispering, but no one dared approach the man who could fire them with a glance. Downstairs, Emily heard the commotion, crashes, muffled curses, and her stomach dropped. She raced up the stairs, 2 at a time, her mind replaying the florist's words. Lilies. Oh God, lilies. Bursting into the office, she found him slumped against the wall, face flushed, tie loosened. "Mr. Grant, I'm so sorry, it's the flowers, isn't it? I mixed up the order." He looked up, eyes red-rimmed, and for a moment, she braced for the storm. But instead of rage, a wry chuckle escaped him, ragged through the sneezes. "The wrong flower. In my sanctuary." He straightened, waving off her apologies as she thrust an EpiPen from the emergency kit into his hand. The injection kicked in quickly, the swelling easing, and he slid down to sit on the floor beside her, both of them catching their breath amid the wilting petals. As the adrenaline faded, Alexander studied her, the wide eyes, the trembling hands, the genuine horror etched on her face. "You know," he said softly, "I've flown halfway around the world, stared down boards in 3 languages, but nothing's made me cancel a flight like this." Emily blinked. "Cancel? But you're here." He shook his head, a small smile breaking through. "My flight back to Tokyo, rescheduled for tomorrow. I was supposed to leave tonight, tie up the merger. But after this, I think I'll stay." Grounded by a flower. Who knew? It was then, in the quiet aftermath, that he noticed her name tag, Emily, with a tiny succulent doodle in the corner. "Tell me, Emily, what's your favorite flower? Not lilies, I hope." "Orchids," she admitted shyly. "They're tough, like you." The words hung, unexpected, and for the first time, Alexander laughed, a real one, echoing off the glass. He cancelled the flight that afternoon, citing unforeseen domestic priorities. The merger waited. For once, so did the world. Over the next weeks, the office transformed. Alexander, still recovering from his floral fiasco, as he dubbed it, began lingering in the lobby, chatting with Emily about plants, travels, the little things he'd overlooked in his high-altitude life. She bloomed under the attention, her shyness giving way to quiet confidence, suggesting eco-friendly desk greens that saved the company thousands in upkeep. And the iron orchid softened, delegating more, breathing easier, literally. One evening, as rain pattered the windows, he left a small orchid on her desk, note attached, the right flower this time. Dinner. No flights involved. Emily's yes came with a blush, but no hesitation. In a world of wrong turns, they'd found the perfect petal. ###2. The CEO's disguised inspection. High above the Atlantic, on a red-eye from London to New York, Daniel Hargrove, the enigmatic CEO of Horizon Airlines, slouched in economy C-24C, his Armani blazer swapped for a rumpled hoodie, designer watch tucked away. At 42, he'd built an empire from a single prop plane, but lately, whispers of complacency plagued his boardrooms. To combat it, he made these ghost flights, incognito audits of his own service. Tonight's target, the cabin crew's attentiveness. Beside him sat Clara, a first-year flight attendant, fresh from training, her uniform starched but her smile strained from a 12-hour shift. She was 26, with dreams of captaining her own route someday, but tonight, she was just another face in the galley, juggling coffee refills and crying babies. Daniel, feigning sleep, watched through slitted eyes as she moved with quiet grace, ignoring the entitled businessman in 23A who snapped for another whiskey, sweetheart. Mid-flight, turbulence hit like a freight train, the seatbelt sign blaring. Passengers panicked, trays rattled, a toddler wailed, but Clara was a whirlwind. She secured loose items, soothed the mother 2 rows up with a spare blanket, and even knelt by an elderly man whose pacemaker stuttered in fear, holding his hand until the bump subsided. Daniel, buckled in, felt a pang. He'd flown first class so long, he'd forgotten the raw humanity of economy. As the plane steadied, Clara approached his row, notepad in hand. "Sir, can I get you anything? Water, perhaps?" Her voice was steady, eyes kind despite the exhaustion. He mumbled for water, then, on impulse, added, "Rough one, huh? You handle it like a pro." She paused, surprised. "Thanks. Comes with the altitude, keeps you humble." They chatted briefly, her love for stargazing from 30,000 feet, his fictional tales of piloting small crafts, a half-truth. Landing at JFK, Daniel lagged in deplaning, watching Clara bid farewell to each passenger with genuine warmth. The businessman grumbled about delays, she responded with a voucher and an apology that disarmed him. Impressed, Daniel slipped her a note with his real card, exceptional service. Call if you ever want to fly higher. DH. Clara dismissed it as a flirt, tossing it in her locker. But weeks later, at a crew briefing, the regional manager announced promotions. Clara Voss, you're our new lead attendant and training coordinator. Stunned, she found Daniel at the podium, no hoodie, full CEO regalia. She gasped. He grinned. Guilty. Saw something real up there. Care to join me for coffee? No turbulence promised. From ghost passenger to guiding light, Daniel's inspections became collaborations, with Clara's insights revolutionizing crew morale. And in quiet hangars, they plotted courses not just for planes, but for futures intertwined. ###3. The Barista's Secret Brew. In the shadow of Chicago's Loop, Theo's Corner Coffee Shop was a sanctuary for the overworked. Theo, the 28-year-old owner, was a wizard with espresso, his lattes artful symphonies of foam that masked a deeper talent, reading people like open books. He had a knack for the lonely executive, the frazzled parent, crafting drinks that lingered like therapy. Enter Victoria Lang, 35, CEO of a floundering ad agency, her days a blur of pitches and pink slips. She stumbled in one rainy Tuesday, soaked trench coat dripping, ordering a black coffee with a voice like gravel. Theo nodded, but as she waited, he watched, shoulders hunched, eyes scanning emails on her phone, thumbs flying in futile fury. Instead of plain Joe, he slid over a caramel macchiato, dusted with cinnamon, a whisper of warmth. "What's this?" she snapped, but one sip halted her. The sweetness cut the bitterness, and she lingered, scrolling less, breathing more. "On the house," Theo said. "You looked like you needed a plot twist." She huffed a laugh, the first in weeks, and returned daily, her orders evolving. oat milk lattes, matcha with extra froth, each a conversation starter. One afternoon, agency crisis peaked, a major client bolted, threatening collapse. Victoria burst in, defeated, collapsing at the counter. Theo listened as she vented, then brewed his secret, a honey ginger tonic, steaming with optimism. "This isn't coffee," she noted. "Nope, it's armor. You've got fire in you, don't let the rain douse it." Inspired, she rallied her team that night, pitching a bold rebrand that won the client back twofold. Grateful, Victoria offered Theo a partnership, agency perks for shop branding. But he saw more, her guarded smiles, the way she lingered post-close. "Deal," he said, "but only if you try my midnight blend sometime." No emails allowed. Their first meeting was stargazing on the roof, lattes in hand, where pitches gave way to dreams. From secret brews to shared futures, Theo's shop became their origin story, one sip at a time. #4. The intern's viral memo. Lila Chen, 22 and fresh from Stanford, landed an internship at Apex Media in San Francisco with stars in her eyes and ramen in her budget. As the lowest on the totem pole, her days were fetch quests, coffee runs, spreadsheet purgatory, dodging the senior execs' whims. But Lila had a spark, a satirical streak honed in dorm room blogs, that she kept leashed, fearing the corporate muzzle. The breaking point came during a marathon strategy session for a flagging soda campaign. The CEO, Marcus Hale, 48 and a relic of Mad Men excess, droned about, disrupting paradigms, while the team nodded like bobbleheads. Lila, relegated to note-taking in the corner, stifled yawns as ideas fizzled into clichés. Frustrated, she fired off a group chat memo to the interns, Operation Fizzy Fail, because nothing says refreshing like recycled buzzwords. Suggestion: actual bubbles. She hit send to the wrong thread, the entire exec list. Panic set in, his red receipts lit up like fireworks. Marcus's office summoned her within minutes. "Ms. Chen," he boomed, memo printout in hand, "care to explain this insubordination?" Lila's heart hammered, but she straightened. "It's not insubord, it's honest. Your campaign's flat because it's afraid of fizz. Let me show you." What followed was a 10-minute pitch, raw and electric, guerrilla social stunts, AR filters turning users into fizzy avatars, tying into eco cans for Gen Z appeal. The room, initially stunned, buzzed. Marcus leaned back, a rare glint in his eye. "Viral already, teams tweeting it. Kid, you're fired, up." Led this. Apex's fizzy revolution exploded online, sales surging 40%. Lila's internship became permanent, her memo the stuff of watercooler legend. In Marcus, he started Wrong Thread Wednesdays, crowdsourcing chaos for creativity. In Boardrooms Reborn, Lila found her voice, proving one misplaced spark could ignite an empire. #5. The driver's detour discovery. Raj Patel gripped the wheel of his yellow cab through Manhattan's snarl, 15 years weaving tourists and tempers into tips. At 40, he was a philosopher behind the meter, dispensing wisdom between fares. Traffic's like life, swerve smart, not hard. But lately, burnout crept in, fares blending into monotony. Then came Elena Vasquez, 31, rising star at a nonprofit, hailing him outside a gala in a gown that screamed success, eyes screaming exhaustion. JFK, please, red eye to DC. As they merged into the Holland Tunnel, she unloaded grant deadlines, donor dramas, a mentor's betrayal that left her grant slashed. Raj listened, nodding, then veered off route. Shortcut, he lied, pulling into a 24-hour diner glowing like a beacon. "Trust me," he said, sliding her a coffee. Over greasy eggs, Elena vented fully, Raj interjecting, "In India, we say detours where destiny hides." Your grant, pivot to micro impacts, small wins, big waves. Inspired, she sketched a new proposal on a napkin, community micro grants, bypassing bureaucracy. By dawn, at the airport, she hugged him. "Detour saved me. What's your story, Raj?" He shrugged, but her energy lingered. Days later, a package arrived, nonprofit swag, and an invite to advise. Raj's first meeting revealed Elena's pull, his insights reshaped their model, earning him a board seat. Cabs became classrooms, detours deliberate. One rainy night, Elena hailed him again, not for JFK, but dinner. No flights this time, she smiled. In the rearview of reinvention, they found their route together. #6. The editor's red pen romance. In the cluttered newsroom of the Daily Herald, Nora Klein, 29,